Have you ever felt the sting of a world that seems to turn its back on you? The weight of a judgment that crushes your spirit, leaving you isolated and raw. Imagine a frontier town where the whispers of gossip carried the force of a blizzard, and reputations are as fragile as a desert flower. In this unforgiving landscape, where the code of the West dictates every action, a woman named Isabel finds herself the target of a brutal accusation, falsely accused, publicly shamed, and left to face the scorn of a community that once embraced her. She is stripped of her dignity and left adrift in a sea of mistrust. This isn't just a story of betrayal. It's a mirror reflecting the times we all face when we are misunderstood, when we are wrongly accused, when we are judged without any real knowledge. Think of the times you felt the sting of a harsh word, the cold shoulder of a friend, or the silent condemnation of a stranger. These are the moments that can leave us feeling broken, vulnerable, and utterly alone. Isabel's experience is a magnification of these feelings, a harsh spotlight on the human capacity for cruelty and the devastating impact of unfounded accusations. But this story isn't only about the pain of being wrongly accused. It's about the resilience of the human spirit, the capacity for healing, and the unexpected places where love can bloom. Amidst the judgmental crowd, there is one person who sees beyond the surface, a solitary rancher named Samuel. He is a man who has retreated from society, guarding his heart with a fortress of solitude, yet he is unable to stand by and watch injustice unfold. He becomes a silent witness, a quiet force against the storm. His journey, and Isabel's, is a testament to the power of truth, the importance of compassion, and the profound impact of a single act of kindness. This is not a story of easy answers or simple solutions. It's a journey through the shadows of doubt, the landscape of fear, and the slow, deliberate emergence of trust. We will explore the emotional landscape of betrayal, the burdens of judgment, and the difficult path toward forgiveness. We'll uncover the patterns that keep us trapped in cycles of pain and discover the strength we possess to break free. We will delve into the heart of connection, the courage it takes to be vulnerable, and the profound beauty of a love forged in the crucible of adversity. This is a story about finding your voice when it feels like it has been stolen. It is about reclaiming your dignity when it has been stripped away. It is about discovering that even in the darkest of times, there is always the possibility of healing, hope, and the promise of a new beginning. Let us embark on this journey together, and may we all find the strength to rise above the judgments of the world and embrace the truth of our own hearts. Building on the initial shock and the subsequent isolation, let's delve deeper into the emotional undercurrents that fuel such devastating experiences. The false accusations, the public shaming, these are not isolated incidents. They are often the culmination of deeper, more insidious forces at play. The frontier town, in this case, acts as a microcosm of society, reflecting our own human tendency to react from a place of fear and defensiveness. We see this echoed in various forms, from workplace politics to online social circles. Furthermore, consider the role of ingrained biases and prejudices. In the context of the Wild West, these could manifest as gender inequality, racial discrimination, or the automatic distrust of outsiders. These biases, often operating unconsciously, create a fertile ground for misinterpretations and the rapid spread of misinformation. Think of how quickly rumors can ignite and how easily they can be weaponized against someone. This is particularly true when individuals are already marginalized or vulnerable. Another crucial layer is the psychology of the crowd. The collective can amplify emotions, feeding on itself and creating a frenzy. The individuals, swept up in the shared outrage or fear, often relinquish their ability to think critically or empathize. This is the fuel that drives the mob mentality. Conversely, we must also acknowledge the internal dynamics that contribute to vulnerability. Isabel, for instance, may have harbored a deep-seated fear of rejection or abandonment, making her particularly susceptible to the pain of being ostracized. Perhaps she had a history of people-pleasing, leading her to prioritize the approval of others over her own truth. Now, consider how this applies when you face similar challenges in your own life. Are there recurring patterns of self-doubt, people-pleasing, or a fear of vulnerability that make you an easier target for manipulation or misunderstanding? Consequently, understanding these inner patterns is paramount to healing. It requires a willingness to confront the shadows within, to acknowledge the ways in which past experiences continue to shape our present responses. This is not about self-blame, but about self-awareness. It's about recognizing the emotional triggers that set us off and developing strategies for managing them. Building on this, the exploration of personal boundaries becomes crucial. Isabel, after being publicly shamed, would need to learn how to rebuild her sense of self-worth and protect herself from future emotional harm. This involves setting clear boundaries with others, communicating her needs assertively, and learning to say no without guilt. It means prioritizing her own well-being and refusing to tolerate disrespectful or harmful behavior. It's akin to fortifying a castle, establishing defenses against the external threats that seek to erode your inner sanctuary. Delving further into the emotional landscape, let's explore the concept of societal scapegoating and its devastating effects. In Isabel's world, the harsh realities of the Wild West often created a climate of fear and scarcity. where individuals were quick to find a target for their anxieties and frustrations. This propensity for blame, for projecting one's own insecurities onto others, is a deeply ingrained human tendency. Think of the way communities, throughout history, have singled out individuals or groups during times of crisis, attributing blame to them for complex problems. Furthermore, the dynamics of power within a community can significantly amplify this effect. Those in positions of authority, whether through wealth, social status, or physical dominance, may use accusations and public shaming as tools of control, manipulating the narrative to maintain their own standing. In Isabel's case, the accusations may have served to silence her, to prevent her from challenging the established order or exposing corruption. This is a tactic we still see today, utilized to discredit those who speak truth to power. Conversely, consider the psychological impact on the accused. The experience of being falsely accused and publicly shamed can trigger a cascade of emotional responses, including intense feelings of shame, guilt, and self-doubt. The individual may begin to internalize the negative judgments of others, leading to a profound erosion of self-esteem. This internalized shame can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, as the individual withdraws from society, reinforcing the very isolation they are trying to escape. It's similar to a seed of poison planted in the heart, slowly taking root and corrupting the very essence of who they are. Another crucial layer to consider is the concept of cognitive dissonance. When faced with evidence that contradicts their beliefs, people often experience discomfort. To resolve this dissonance, they may cling even more tightly to their initial judgments, rather than acknowledging the truth. This can explain why those who initially accused Isabel might have been resistant to Samuel's efforts to uncover the truth. They were unwilling to challenge their own biases or admit they were wrong. Building on this, the importance of self-compassion becomes paramount in the face of such adversity. Isabel, having been publicly humiliated, would need to cultivate a deep sense of understanding and acceptance for herself. This means treating herself with the same kindness and empathy she would extend to a dear friend. It involves recognizing that she is not defined by the false accusations against her and that her worth is not dependent on the opinions of others. Now, consider how this applies when you face similar challenges in your own life. Are you able to extend that same level of compassion to yourself when you make a mistake, when you are criticized, or when you feel that you've failed? Let's now turn our gaze toward the potential motivations of the other characters involved in Isabel's ordeal, particularly those who were quick to cast judgment and participate in her public shaming. This exploration requires a delicate balance of empathy and critical observation. It is tempting to simply label them as villains, but such a simplistic view would rob us of the opportunity to understand the complex tapestry of human behavior. Furthermore, consider the role of fear within this frontier community. The Wild West was a volatile environment, where survival often depended on maintaining social cohesion and adhering to strict codes of conduct. The fear of chaos, of lawlessness, could have fueled a desire for swift justice, even if it meant sacrificing accuracy. The townsfolk, perhaps fearing that Isabel's perceived transgression threatened the stability of their fragile existence, may have acted out of a sense of self-preservation. Another crucial layer is the influence of social hierarchy and the desire for conformity. In a small town where everyone knows everyone else, the pressure to fit in can be immense. Those who dared to question the prevailing narrative, to express doubt about Isabel's guilt, may have risked social ostracism themselves. They may have been hesitant to challenge the established order, fearing the consequences of being seen as an outsider. Building on this, however, it is important to acknowledge the potential for manipulation and the insidious nature of gossip. Those who orchestrated Isabel's downfall might have exploited the community's vulnerabilities, spreading rumors and half-truths to achieve their own selfish goals. They may have been motivated by jealousy, greed, or a desire to consolidate their power. Conversely, we must also consider the possibility of unintentional harm. Some individuals may have genuinely believed the accusations against Isabel, acting out of a sincere, albeit misguided, sense of justice. They may have been misled by the evidence presented to them, or they may have been influenced by their own biases and prejudices. Now, consider how this applies when you find yourself in situations where others are being judged or criticized. Are you quick to believe the narratives presented to you, or do you take the time to question the information and consider alternative perspectives? Do you allow yourself to be swayed by the opinions of others, or do you strive to maintain your own sense of integrity and critical thinking? Let's shift our focus to the vital realm of communication and the creation of safe emotional spaces, particularly within the context of navigating accusations and rebuilding trust. Honesty, of course, is paramount, but it's not merely about stating facts. It's about expressing those facts with vulnerability and clarity. Imagine Samuel, as he begins his clandestine investigation, needing to communicate with Isabel. He can't simply barge in and demand answers. Instead, he has to approach her with empathy, acknowledging her pain and demonstrating his genuine concern. He would have to choose his words carefully, ensuring that they convey both his respect and his commitment to uncovering the truth. Furthermore, the establishment of clear boundaries is crucial for fostering a sense of safety. Isabel, having been betrayed and publicly shamed, would understandably be wary of trusting anyone again. Samuel, therefore, would need to respect her need for space and autonomy, never pressuring her or making demands. He could, instead, offer her a safe haven, a space where she feels comfortable expressing her emotions without fear of judgment or further harm. Like a skilled craftsman, he would have to build the foundation of their relationship with precision and care, ensuring that each brick represents trust, respect, and understanding. Another crucial layer is the art of active listening. This goes beyond simply hearing the words. It involves paying attention to the unspoken cues, the subtle shifts in tone, and the underlying emotions. Samuel, to connect with Isabel, would need to truly hear her, to validate her feelings, and to demonstrate that he understands the depth of her pain. Think of a seasoned detective carefully examining a crime scene, looking for clues that might otherwise be overlooked. In this instance, Samuel would be looking for clues to unlock Isabel's emotional state, signaling his understanding and empathy. Conversely, healthy communication also involves the ability to assert one's own needs and boundaries. Isabel, after being silenced and controlled, would need to reclaim her voice and express her own desires and expectations. This could mean saying no to unwanted advances, setting limits on how others treat her, or simply stating her needs clearly and directly. It's akin to learning a new language, where each word and phrase is a building block towards expressing her truth. Building on this, consider the importance of nonverbal communication. In the Wild West, where words could be scarce and trust even scarcer, actions often spoke louder than words. Samuel's unwavering presence, his quiet determination, and his willingness to stand by Isabel would have conveyed a powerful message of support and solidarity. Now, consider how this applies when you are trying to rebuild trust with someone who has been hurt or betrayed. How can you use your own actions to demonstrate your sincerity and commitment? Let's contemplate the multifaceted aspects of conscious love within the framework of Isabel and Samuel's evolving bond. Moving beyond mere attraction to embrace a deeper, more meaningful connection. True, healthy love transcends the superficial. It's not merely about fleeting emotions or romantic gestures. It involves a deep understanding of the other person's values, dreams, and vulnerabilities, fostering a space where each individual can thrive and grow. Furthermore, genuine love necessitates mutual respect. Samuel, witnessing Isabel's unwarranted suffering, would undoubtedly develop an appreciation for her inner strength and resilience. This respect would permeate their interactions, allowing them to navigate challenges and celebrate triumphs as a unified team. It's like a well-crafted dance, where each partner acknowledges and supports the other's movements, creating a harmonious and captivating performance. Another crucial layer is the element of reciprocity. Love is not a one-way street. It thrives on a balanced exchange of affection, support, and understanding. Isabel, initially hesitant to trust, would gradually learn to reciprocate Samuel's care, opening her heart to his unwavering devotion. This creates a virtuous cycle where vulnerability and trust build upon each other, strengthening the bond over time. Building on this, however, consider the importance of shared purpose. In the face of adversity, Isabel and Samuel would find common ground in their pursuit of justice and truth. Their shared struggle to expose the lies and reclaim her reputation would forge a deeper connection, uniting them in a cause bigger than themselves. This collaborative pursuit becomes the fertile ground where their love can truly flourish. Conversely, conscious love allows for individual growth and freedom. It's not about merging identities or stifling personal aspirations. Instead, it encourages each person to pursue their own passions and dreams, providing a supportive environment where they can flourish independently while still remaining connected. Think of two trees growing side by side, their roots intertwined, but their branches reaching towards the sky, each seeking its own sunlight. Now, consider how this applies when you find yourself in a relationship. Does your partnership foster mutual respect, reciprocity, and a shared sense of purpose? Does it provide a space for both of you to grow and evolve as individuals? Are you willing to embrace the vulnerability that comes with genuine connection? Let's now turn our focus to the profound interplay between resilience and the transformative power of forgiveness. The narrative of Isabel and Samuel offers a compelling lens through which to examine these critical aspects of the human experience. Consider the sheer fortitude Isabel must summon to weather the storm of public humiliation and false accusations. It's not enough to simply survive. She needs to actively cultivate an inner strength, a bedrock of self-worth that allows her to withstand the corrosive forces of judgment and betrayal. Furthermore, the cultivation of self-compassion is a vital element of this process. Isabel must learn to treat herself with the same kindness and understanding she might extend to a cherished friend. This involves acknowledging her pain, validating her emotions, and releasing the grip of self-blame. Picture a shattered vase, its fragments scattered. The act of resilience is the deliberate, patient process of gathering those fragments and meticulously piecing them back together, not to erase the cracks, but to transform them into a testament to her enduring spirit. Another crucial layer is the acknowledgement of the role of forgiveness. This isn't about condoning the actions of those who wronged her. It's about liberating herself from the chains of resentment and bitterness. Forgiveness, in this context, becomes an act of self-preservation, a conscious choice to release the emotional burden that weighs her down. It's like the act of releasing a tightly held balloon. The tension dissipates, allowing the individual to regain their freedom. Building on this, however, understand that forgiveness is not a passive act. It's a deliberate, often arduous journey that requires self-reflection, emotional processing, and a willingness to let go of the need for revenge or retribution. It might involve confronting the individuals who wronged her, setting clear boundaries, or simply making the conscious decision to move forward, leaving the past behind. Conversely, the process of forgiveness is often intertwined with the concept of acceptance. This means acknowledging the reality of the situation, accepting that the past cannot be changed, and focusing on what can be controlled. It involves releasing the need to rewrite history and instead embracing the present moment. Now, consider how this applies when you face your own personal struggles. Have you cultivated the inner strength necessary to navigate adversity? Are you able to extend compassion to yourself when you stumble or make mistakes? Have you embraced the transformative power of forgiveness, or are you still clinging to the weight of past hurts? Let's now explore the profound implications of redefining identity in the wake of a public shaming, and how Isabel might embark on this journey of self-reclamation. The crucible of the Wild West, in her situation, has not only stripped her of her reputation but also threatened to shatter her very sense of self. The whispers, the accusations, the judgments, they become like a relentless tide, seeking to engulf and erase her. Furthermore, the process of rebuilding her identity is not simply about clearing her name. It is about reclaiming the narrative of her own life. It's about refusing to be defined by the lies and the betrayals. It's about actively choosing to shape her own story, to become the author of her own destiny. Another crucial layer is recognizing the difference between external validation and internal validation. Before the events that shook her life, Isabel may have derived a significant portion of her sense of worth from the approval of others. Her public shaming, however, forces her to confront the fragility of such external sources. It is, consequently, a profound lesson in self. Now, consider how this applies when you face similar challenges in your own life. Do you derive your sense of value from external sources like social media likes or the opinions of others? Or do you cultivate a deep-seated sense of self-worth that is impervious to external criticism? Building on this, however, the journey of self-reclamation often involves shedding the masks we wear to protect ourselves. Isabel, wounded and vulnerable, might have developed defenses like emotional detachment or people-pleasing to shield herself from further pain. The process of healing, however, requires her to remove these masks, to confront her vulnerabilities, and to embrace her authentic self. Think of it like peeling back the layers of an onion. Each layer reveals a new facet of her true self. Conversely, consider the role of purpose in this process. As Isabel begins to heal, she will be compelled to seek a new sense of meaning in her life. Perhaps she will become a champion for others who have been unfairly treated, using her experience to advocate for justice and compassion. Maybe she will find solace in creative pursuits, expressing her pain and her resilience through art or writing. Now consider how this applies when you face a personal crisis. What gives your life meaning? What values do you hold dear? How can you leverage your experiences to create a more meaningful life for yourself and for others? Furthermore, let's examine the concept of societal resilience and how a community can heal after an event of such profound injustice. The town, after witnessing Isabel's public humiliation, would not remain unchanged. The collective conscience, though perhaps initially swayed by fear and misinformation, might eventually begin to stir. The murmurs of gossip, once a weapon of destruction, could gradually transform into whispers of doubt and regret. Another crucial layer is the acknowledgement of historical patterns of injustice. The Wild West, though romanticized in folklore, was a place where systemic inequalities were often rampant. Examining these patterns, which might include the abuse of power, the suppression of dissenting voices, or the exploitation of marginalized groups, provides a framework for understanding the root causes of Isabel's ordeal. It is an opportunity for self-reflection and a chance to dismantle the structures that perpetuate such injustices. Building on this, however, consider the role of leadership in fostering healing. The town's leaders, whether they were elected officials, influential landowners, or community elders, would face a crucial test of their character. Would they cling to their positions of power, perpetuating the lies and silencing dissent? Or would they demonstrate true leadership by seeking the truth, advocating for justice, and fostering reconciliation? Their choices and the subsequent consequences would shape the future of the community. Conversely, the path to collective healing is rarely smooth. It often involves difficult conversations, the confrontation of uncomfortable truths, and the willingness to accept responsibility for past actions. There may be resistance from those who benefited from the injustice, those who fear losing their social standing, or those who are simply unwilling to acknowledge their own complicity. Now consider how this applies when you witness injustice. In your own community, do you speak up or do you remain silent? Do you support those who are targeted or do you allow fear to dictate your actions? Are you willing to challenge the status quo even when it's difficult or unpopular? Furthermore, the concept of restorative justice becomes critically important in this scenario, rather than simply punishing the perpetrators. Restorative justice focuses on repairing the harm caused by the injustice and restoring the relationships that have been damaged. This might involve apologies, acts of restitution, and community healing initiatives. The goal is not just to punish, but to heal. Consequently, consider the role of forgiveness within the community. The townsfolk, those who were swayed by the lies and those who participated in the public shaming, might need to confront their own complicity. This involves acknowledging their mistakes, expressing remorse, and seeking forgiveness from Isabel and from each other. It's a challenging process, requiring humility, self-reflection, and a willingness to let go of pride. Building on this, the process of reconciliation also demands a commitment to building a more just and equitable society. The community might need to examine its own values, challenge its own biases, and implement policies that prevent future injustices. This is an ongoing process, a continuous striving for a more perfect union. Now, consider how this applies when you are part of a community that has experienced conflict or division. What steps can you take to promote healing, reconciliation, and a more just society? Are you willing to take responsibility for your own actions and to work towards a better future? Let's now turn our focus to the importance of self-compassion. In the aftermath of such a public ordeal, exploring how Isabel might cultivate this essential quality. Self-compassion, which is a powerful antidote to the self-criticism that often follows trauma, is not merely about feeling sorry for oneself. Instead, it's a practice of treating oneself with the same kindness, care, and understanding one would offer a dear friend navigating a difficult situation. Furthermore, we must delve into the practical application of self-compassion. For Isabel, this could manifest in numerous ways. Perhaps it involves developing a daily mindfulness practice, allowing her to observe her thoughts and feelings without judgment. Perhaps it means engaging in activities that bring her joy and a sense of peace, whether it's spending time in nature, creating art, or simply listening to music. Another crucial layer is recognizing the universality of suffering. Isabel's experience, though unique in its specific details, resonates with the shared human condition of experiencing pain, making mistakes, and facing adversity. Cultivating self-compassion requires acknowledging that suffering is an inherent part of the human experience, and that she is not alone in her struggles. Building on this, however, consider the role of self-soothing. After enduring such a public humiliation, Isabel would likely experience a range of difficult emotions, including shame, anger, and fear. Self-soothing involves developing healthy coping mechanisms for managing these emotions, such as deep breathing exercises, gentle physical touch, or engaging in activities that promote relaxation. Conversely, the practice of self-compassion is not always easy. It often requires confronting deeply ingrained patterns of self-criticism and perfectionism. Isabel might have spent her life striving to meet the expectations of others, and shifting her focus inward towards self-care could feel counterintuitive. Now, consider how this applies when you face a personal challenge. Do you tend to be overly critical of yourself, or do you treat yourself with kindness and understanding? Are you able to recognize the universality of suffering and to remind yourself that you are not alone in your struggles? How can you incorporate self-soothing practices into your daily life? Furthermore, let's explore the subtle art of vulnerability and its profound impact on healing and the formation of genuine connections. It's a landscape often shrouded in uncertainty, where the risk of exposure can feel daunting, particularly after an experience as harrowing as Isabel's. Yet, it is within this space of openness that true intimacy flourishes. Consider this: Samuel, in his quiet strength, doesn't merely offer protection. He creates a sanctuary where Isabel can safely lower her defenses, revealing the raw, untamed aspects of her spirit. Another crucial layer is the understanding that vulnerability is not synonymous with weakness. It's not about bearing all at once, but rather about sharing pieces of oneself, one step at a time. As trust is cultivated, it's like tending to a delicate seedling. It needs the right conditions: sunlight, water, and protection to flourish. Isabel, after the public shaming, might initially hesitate, fearing further judgment. Building on this, however, consider the role of non-judgment in fostering vulnerability. Samuel, in his quiet empathy, would refrain from offering unsolicited advice or imposing his own perspectives. Instead, he creates a space where Isabel can express her emotions, her fears, and her dreams without feeling scrutinized. This isn't merely about listening, it's about truly seeing and accepting the other person. It is much like a painter's canvas, where each stroke represents the honesty of the moment, allowing for the full expression of emotion. Conversely, vulnerability also requires healthy boundaries. It's not about becoming an emotional dumping ground or sacrificing one's own needs. For Isabel, this might involve learning to say no to those who seek to exploit her vulnerability, or setting limits on how much she shares with others. It's about finding the delicate balance between openness and self-protection. Consequently, the process of becoming vulnerable is not a linear one. It's a dance, a negotiation between risk and reward. It requires constant self-awareness, a willingness to learn from mistakes, and a steadfast commitment to authenticity. Now, consider how this applies when you seek to connect with others in your life. Are you able to create a space where vulnerability is welcomed, or are you still hiding behind walls of self-protection? Do you believe in the power of openness to foster genuine connection? Furthermore, let's dissect the critical element of rebuilding trust, particularly in the wake of such profound betrayal. It's a fragile construct, trust often shattered by a single act of deception or injustice. For Isabel, the foundation of her world has been irrevocably shaken, and the task of reassembling the fractured pieces demands a level of patience and commitment that is truly extraordinary. Another crucial layer is the understanding that trust is not simply given, it is earned. Samuel, in his unwavering support, could not simply demand that Isabel trust him. Instead, he must consistently demonstrate his integrity, his loyalty, and his unwavering belief in her, not merely through words, but through actions. This is similar to a skilled artisan meticulously crafting a delicate piece of pottery. Each careful movement, each precise touch, contributes to the final creation. Building on this, however, consider the role of transparency in rebuilding trust. Samuel, in his investigation, needs to be open and honest with Isabel about his findings, sharing the evidence he uncovers and allowing her to participate in the process. This doesn't mean he reveals every detail immediately, but rather that he keeps her informed, offering her a voice in the decisions that affect her life. Conversely, the path of rebuilding trust is often fraught with setbacks and moments of doubt. Isabel might experience periods of skepticism where the wounds of the past resurface, making it difficult for her to believe in Samuel's sincerity. It's like navigating a treacherous mountain path. One misstep could send you tumbling back to the bottom. Consequently, the process of rebuilding trust is not a quick fix. It requires a sustained commitment to honesty, empathy, and respect. Now, consider how this applies when you are trying to mend a broken relationship. Are you willing to be vulnerable, to share your own shortcomings, and to consistently demonstrate your trustworthiness through your actions? Are you prepared to weather the inevitable storms of doubt and uncertainty? Let's now turn our focus to the transformative power of forgiveness, exploring how Isabel might navigate the complexities of offering absolution to those who wronged her. Forgiveness, you see, is not merely a passive act of letting go. It is a dynamic process, a conscious choice to release the grip of resentment and bitterness. It's a journey that often begins with acknowledging the depth of the injury, the pain that has been inflicted, before slowly charting a course toward acceptance and healing. Furthermore, the act of granting forgiveness is not necessarily about condoning the actions of the perpetrators. It is, in essence, a gift she bestows upon herself. This isn't to say that Isabel would automatically feel empathy for her tormentors. Instead, it's a conscious decision to sever the emotional ties that bind her to the past, freeing herself from the weight of anger and bitterness. Another crucial layer is understanding the nuances of forgiveness. It's rarely a sudden event. It's more akin to a winding path through a dense forest, with moments of clarity interspersed with periods of doubt and struggle. Isabel may experience waves of conflicting emotions, sadness, anger, even a fleeting sense of pity for those who caused her such suffering. Building on this, however, consider the crucial role of self-compassion in this journey. Forgiveness, you see, can be an incredibly demanding process, requiring immense emotional strength. Isabel will need to treat herself with the same kindness and understanding she would extend to a dear friend. This means acknowledging her own vulnerabilities, allowing herself to feel the full range of her emotions, and refraining from self-judgment. Conversely, it's important to recognize that forgiveness is not always a prerequisite for healing. There will be instances when the wounds are too deep, the betrayal too profound, and the act of forgiving feels impossible. In such cases, Isabel might choose to focus on other aspects of her healing, setting healthy boundaries, seeking support from trusted allies, and reclaiming her sense of self-worth. Consequently, the act of forgiveness is deeply personal. It's a testament to her resilience, her capacity for empathy, and her unwavering belief in the possibility of a brighter future. Now, consider how this applies when you grapple with past hurts. Are you able to approach the act of forgiveness with both grace and self-compassion? Are you able to recognize that the journey toward healing is not always linear, and that setbacks are a natural part of the process? Let's now examine the intricate dance between justice and redemption, specifically how the pursuit of truth and the restoration of Isabel's honor might intertwine. The Wild West, a realm often governed by a distorted sense of morality, frequently equated retribution with justice. However, true justice, in this context, transcends mere punishment. It seeks to restore balance, to repair the damage inflicted upon the victim, and to create the conditions for genuine healing. Furthermore, the concept of truth's inherent power must be considered. In a society riddled with deceit, the mere act of revealing the facts can be a radical act of defiance. For Isabel, exposing the lies that have shattered her life becomes a crucial step toward reclaiming her agency, toward reshaping the narrative that has been imposed upon her. Think of it as a lighthouse piercing through a storm, illuminating the dark corners of deception and offering a beacon of hope. Another crucial layer is the understanding that justice, in its purest form, often necessitates a systemic examination of the forces that contributed to the injustice. This involves not only identifying the individuals responsible for the false accusations, but also investigating the underlying social dynamics, power structures, and biases that allowed such a travesty to occur. Building on this, however, consider the complexities of forgiveness within the framework of justice. While forgiveness might be a crucial component of Isabel's personal healing, it doesn't negate the need for accountability. Those responsible for her suffering, those who conspired to destroy her reputation, must face the consequences of their actions. This is not about vengeance. It's about upholding the principles of fairness, equity, and the rule of law. Conversely, the pursuit of justice can sometimes be a protracted and arduous process, particularly in a society where corruption and bias are prevalent. Isabel and Samuel might encounter resistance at every turn, facing threats, intimidation, and legal obstacles. It will be a test of their resolve, their commitment to the truth, and their unwavering belief in the possibility of a just outcome. Consequently, the path toward justice and redemption is not always straightforward. It often involves navigating treacherous terrain, confronting powerful adversaries, and making difficult choices. Now, consider how this applies when you witness injustice in your own world. Are you willing to stand up for what is right, even when it's difficult or unpopular? Are you willing to fight for the truth, even when it means confronting powerful forces? In this space, we've journeyed through the tumultuous landscape of betrayal, judgment, and the arduous climb toward healing. We've traversed the emotional terrain, feeling the sharp sting of false accusations and the isolating weight of being cast aside. We've explored the insidious tendrils of internal patterns, those deeply rooted beliefs and fears that can leave us vulnerable to the slings and arrows of the world. We've peered into the hearts of others, attempting to understand their motivations, their struggles, even as we navigate our own. Drawing these threads together, we see a tapestry woven from threads of resilience, compassion, and the unwavering, the power of connection. We've examined the crucial role of communication, the crafting of safe spaces, and the profound impact of honest, vulnerable exchanges. We've considered the essence of conscious love, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a commitment to growth, mutuality, and the unwavering pursuit of truth. This journey has been a mirror, reflecting the multifaceted dimensions of the human experience, from the darkest shadows of doubt to the luminous promise of a new beginning. Reflecting on this journey so far, we can see how the individual threads, the sting of injustice, the burden of judgment, the quest for truth, the longing for connection intertwine to create a complex narrative. Imagine a river carving its way through a vast canyon. Each tributary, each stream contributes to the river's power, shaping the landscape and ultimately determining its course. Struggles, the betrayals, the moments of doubt, they are the tributaries, the streams that feed into the river of healing. They become the forces that sculpt the terrain of the heart, revealing the strength and resilience that lie within. As we pivot towards the final reflection, we carry with us the weight of these insights. We understand that healing is not a destination, but a process, a continuous journey of self-discovery and growth. We recognize that the path toward wholeness is often paved with vulnerability, courage, and the unwavering belief in the power of the human spirit. The threads of this story, now interwoven, are poised to guide us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves, our relationships, and the transformative power of love. In the vast expanse of the Wild West, where the sun beats down on both the innocent and the guilty, Isabel's story becomes a timeless echo of the human spirit's capacity for resilience. We have witnessed a crucible of trials, a landscape painted with the harsh realities of injustice and the unwavering pursuit of truth. The central theme has been the extraordinary power of healing found within the core of human connection. It is a narrative that transcends the dusty trails and saloon doors, resonating with the universal experience of being judged, of feeling betrayed, of yearning for redemption. The tale of Isabel and Samuel, as they navigate the treacherous currents of accusation and societal condemnation, illuminates the profound importance of empathy, the courage to confront uncomfortable truths, and the transformative power of forgiveness. The unforgiving world that tried to break Isabel ultimately revealed the strength that lay dormant within her. The true power of this story lies not merely in the resolution of the conflict, but in the profound transformation of the characters. The journey from public shaming to the embrace of a love born from shared hardship is a testament to the human capacity to overcome adversity. The lessons learned through this narrative are not confined to the frontier. Instead, they are a guide for navigating the complexities of our own lives. We see the importance of vulnerability in forging meaningful connections, the necessity of setting boundaries to protect our well-being, and the transformative power of self-compassion. This isn't just a story of the past. It is a reflection of the present, a mirror held up to our own lives. The true practice begins now. Consider the moments in your own life when you have felt unjustly accused, when you have struggled to trust, when the wounds of betrayal seemed insurmountable. How can you, like Isabel, cultivate the strength to rise above the judgments of others? How can you embrace the vulnerability that allows for genuine connection, for the healing that comes with forgiveness? This story is an invitation, a call to action. It is a reminder that within each of us resides the capacity to heal, to forgive, and to create a life filled with meaning and purpose. May you find within yourself the strength to navigate the challenges that life presents, and may you always remember the enduring power of truth, justice, and the unwavering spirit of